Bill Gates calls for nationwide shutdown. Shutdown anywhere means shutdown everywhere. Having places shut down and places not shut down is like having a peeing section in the pool. Years ago, a better reference would be having the smoking section literally next to the non-smoking section in a restaurant. We needed to do this a week ago. I was there and I'm always downvoted to hell for saying this. Yes, China did a plethora of shit that lead to this, but 60 days ago it was impossible to enter or leave Wuhan. I can still fly internationally and return to Canada without government intervention. The widespread in North America is very much due to inaction. I spent 2 weeks quarantined in a military base only to get out and see life 100% normal. Absolutely nobody had a care in the world a month ago here. Sure. Just erase any of my bills for a month and send me money for food. You can't expect people to comply when they will lose their homes or electricity. Edit. Everyone I'm sure agrees. If we didn't have any bills and we got paid to stay home, we all would. If the government would have done that March, we would have been way better off than these half-ass stay-at-home that only some governors enforcing. This is underrepresented. I'm burning through my savings and have enough to cover expenses until the end of May. California unemployment phones are overloaded and lead to a dead-end phone tree. They don't even bother putting you on hold now. We have some vague mention of $1,200 with zero details. No one is hiring. Now what? Yeah, they didn't listen to him 5 years ago when he called for our nation to prepare for a viral outbreak. Why would they listen to him now? Politicians aren't good at leading. They are good at politics. They will only take action when it is too late. The particular politicians in the U.S. executive branch right now aren't even good at that. There are politicians, democratically elected, who see that tough measures are necessary and take them. Edit it to fix typo. If you look at the life of Bill Gates, he truly is a man ahead of his time. If you look into the life of Bill Gates, you find some dark shit that he spent literally billions to reform his public image. Fellow retail workers. Remember, we are expendable, not essential. They consider us low-skilled, not heroes. Buy a bunch of food from your work and call out as much as you can. If they don't pay you while you are out, call them out on Twitter. Public pressure is the only thing that will keep your pockets from drying up during this pandemic, while people who can afford to stay home or are allowed to work from home call you heroes. Don't buy that bullshit. They gassing you up with bullshit. As a former retail worker, expendable is definitely the right word. The general public doesn't give two fucks. You really see the worst of people working the job. Ugh, I'm so glad I got out of there. I'm not saying he's wrong, but the guy with enough in the bank for 100 million years isn't really the one to tell us to stop working and live off our savings. The ironic thing about this is that if the authorities had taken him seriously 5 years ago when he warned we need to prepare for pandemics, you wouldn't have to stop working and live off of your savings. He may be a billionaire, but he's amongst the best of them. His foundation has him surrounded by the best epidemiologists in the world. I would argue he is one of the few people who should absolutely be telling us what we should be doing. I agree this would be best in terms of public health, but as far as I can tell it's not feasible. You'd have to pretty much promise financial responsibilities are on hold for 2 weeks. Even China couldn't tell landlords to not collect rent. Then you'd need support services in place to make sure no one is starving to death or lacking medications. On top of that, you'd pretty much need boots on the ground to make sure people actually stay in their homes. Hi Mr. Bill Gates, could I get some of your money so I can actually financially survive the shutdown you so admirably propose? Yes, just a few millionths of 1% of your net worth will be sufficient. Thank you Mr. Gates. Hope all is well. I respect Mr. Gates and his wife. They give back immensely and in numerous ways. They earned the ability to buy and build $150 million mansion. 60k square foot. Staff etc. Can hunker down forever. How can I possibly do that living job to job? Soon I'll be in default everything. Probably no lights on. I'm sure I'm not the only one. Don't expect anyone to read this, but it is a little comforting getting it out. Thank you Reddit. Don't get me wrong, I'd like to see more nationwide measures to contain the virus. And I support at least some amount of shutdown. But I'd also like to point out that a shutdown won't affect Bill Gates like it will affect most people. People will lose their jobs, their educational opportunities, and their livelihoods. He will lose, pretty much, nothing. It's easy to say just stay home when you have a mansion and a ton of money. Even if he loses a few opportunities to make money, it's not the same as a regular person losing their job. Bill Gates. A real man of the people. When people on here are done fawning over him, you must realize he doesn't have one clue what a privilege it is to be able to just stay home indefinitely without fear of financial ruin. Living without fear of financial ruin from a doctor's visit. Must be nice. All these things are kinda easy to say for the rich with their big houses and gardens. Kinda starting to annoy me. Imagine being single, only having a small room and no income anymore. And now some rich dude is telling you to stay inside? Fuck that asshat. If you need me, I'll be up here in my massive compound with all the necessities and amenities a billionaire could desire. Bill Gates should let his money do the talking. We do not need to be preached at from his mansion and yacht. Maybe once he pays for us all to be shut down, he should start talking. Don't let these mega billionaires deceive you with their flowery talks. These are the people who have been buying the whole meat aisle but on a global scale for decades. Bill Gates doesn't understand a world where not everyone is rich apparently. Even growing up, his family was just regular rich as opposed to uber rich. He's already demonstrated this with his $15 bagel comment. Total shutdown of the whole nation? This would not make sense. Easy for Bill to say, since his millions will have him ride out anything. But, in states that have less than 1,000 cases in the entire state, there is zero need for a total lockdown like NJ has. Those areas could slow the spread with more lax guidelines and massive testing. Some states are still in the early phases, and with widespread testing could rapidly identify and isolate the sick people. A state like NJ is too far gone to try and find every case, but in a place like Oklahoma with only 500 cases there would still be time while their numbers are lower. Did he tell Europe to do the same thing? Trump could not shut down travel to and from other countries without people complaining. Some even took trips in March. WTF. If people complain when air travel is restricted, there is no way the US will shut down. I know some people already know this, but if we shut down the whole country, who's gonna make the medical supplies the hospitals need? Okay, we leave the factories open. The factory workers, doctors, nurses and police/firefighters need gas/fuel to get back and forth to work. Okay, gotta keep gas stations open. Most people need food, gotta keep the stores open. Everything needs to be delivered to the hospitals and grocery stores, gotta keep the trucking industry going. I worked 13 hours yesterday, and no offense everyone on here who says to shut the country down is fucking stupid.